Oh yeah, what's up? How's it going in his house?
His house? Whose house are you talking about?
His house, of course. His is who I'm talking about. You know him.
His house.
Him. That
His
guy.
house. That one person's house. His house. Oh, I'm so bummed I missed out on this microphone.
Well, I'm
it was
sorry
the
about
whole
the
kit too. That's
Was
right.
it on eBay or what was it? What was it on?
No, it was actually through Guitar Center. It was like just part of their used stock, and I was like,
really?
"Ooh, that's gonna go fast. I hope I can get that in time." I was fully prepared to miss out on it, and you know what? The world works in mysterious ways. I will get the things I need eventually.
Yep.
I will just be patient. Yeah. So anywho.
It's stuff like that. It's definitely when you see opportunities online and you want to jump at them. I'm right now. For my day job, I'm planning. There's an event coming up in October and looking at like different options as sponsorships and stuff like that. And there's something I kind of want to do, but haven't gotten the okay internally yet, and it's a lot of money. But like I got to move before someone else does it, and so yeah. So yep.
Yeah, and I mean, I will find something that I'm like, oh yeah, I think I want to do that, and then I will scratch my head and I'm going to think about it, and then I'll go back and forth forever. And I think my stalling is a way of me like saying no. You know what I mean?
No, but it's funny though, and this ties back to technology. Like I don't know if you guys suffer from this as well, but I definitely suffer from analysis paralysis with stuff.
Oh yeah,
I mean, and right now the thing I'm the most analysis paralysis is a backpack. Because I'm still using that old OnePlus backpack, or Mishaal, that you have, right?
Same one, yep.
And I cannot find one where I'm like, yes, I want to spend the money to replace this backpack. I've poured over backpacks. I've read Wirecutter. I've read all of it. Like, this is the best backpack and whatever. And it's just like, and I'm like, no, I just want another OnePlus backpack.
Yeah.
But no, but I did it with I was talking about the show a couple weeks ago. I was talking about an iFanboy made, but the Blu-ray player, the 4K Blu-ray player. I've been buying 4K Blu-ray discs for a year, and I haven't had a player because I haven't pulled the trigger on which one to get. And I finally just was like, I'm gonna get the Panasonic, and I just got it, and now I have it, and that's done, and I won't think about it. But like, you know, you just go over the specs and like the pros and the cons and all
because they don't want to make the wrong decision. What if I miss the thing, you know? And so I gotta read it 10 times and gotta come back to it with fresh eyes. And oh dang, it's sold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I end up on the opposite side and I'm like, no, this time I'm just gonna pull the trigger, and then I regret it. I'm like, oh, why did I do that? I missed this thing. And that's why I have some regrettable purchases downstairs. A few of them that I did a video on at the end of last year. That
no
vest.
Regrets. Oh, I remember that video. That was a good video. I like that video.
The bulletproof looking vest that was meant for POV shots. That's just ridiculous.
No regrets.
It made sense at the time.
No regrets.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why. I mean, I got to be honest. I mean, if we didn't have the show and I wasn't getting phones as review units and using those, if I had to plan to buy a phone, I would be like in the corner rocking like Kermit in the Johnny Cash video.
Totally. Yeah. Well, that's
I feel like I'm the same way.
Thing.
Yeah.
There's not much tech that I like want to get that I don't already have. So there's not many situations where I have paralysis, issues with choices. Like I was the situation that impacted me the most a couple of months ago is when I was buying a new desktop PC. I was trying to decide between these 3 builds, and I even asked my followers on social media which one of these should I get. I ended up getting none of those. I ended up getting one that was $1,000 cheaper because I'm like, I'm probably not going to use all the horsepower that this $2,500 PC actually allows me to do. So I'm going to get something that's cheaper.
Well, that was smart of you. I would have been like, yeah, more power. Yeah, let's just go for it. Click. I guess I can't undo it now. I already clicked.
Too many options.
It's going to arrive, and I just have to deal with it.
The click is the word. I mean, the it's so easy to click now and just get something. And the thing was, like back in the day, I would go to Circuit City or go to Best Buy and I'd look at things and I'd like, like I had to get a new bathing suit and I was like, I can get it on Amazon, but I want to feel the material. Like I went to Target and there was just like 3 options. I was like, well, this sucks. So like I ended up like. ended up just using it for like measurements and feel, and I'm taking a flyer by ordering online. It's just the world has changed. Yeah. So CompUSA. I used to love CompUSA.
Oh, CompUSA.
Yeah, that was
Compusa, which sounds weird. I'm not going to say that out loud again. CompUSA. Yeah. Computer Shopper magazine.
Oh, Computer Shopper, that big thick one.
Oh,
yeah. So
thickest.
I'm lucky I have a Micro Center, so I don't have to worry about. I don't have to look fondly back on the places that used to sell you great PC parts. I can just drive 20 minutes and go to one right now.
Very lucky.
That's
Very
great.
Lucky. Yep.
Yeah, and return policies are generally pretty good. So when you buy a piece of tech, depending on who you buy it from, you can generally return it if it doesn't work out.
Folks watching the live stream, remind you to put in a title throughout the episode, and we'll pick a title at the end of the show. You can go to af.showbot.tv, and you can do that.
Yes, you can.
The more people who do it, the more fun it gets. So please do that.
af.showbot.tv. Okay, let's see here. I'm sure I have more things to set up. We need to get our email slide thing in there. Let me see.
Yeah, I think we're good. It's a quiet week, everybody.
Which is good after last week's marathon episode.
Man, I gotta tell you, guys were. Whew.
We took it to the limit, I think.
So Jason, on the first story in news and the first story in hardware, did you see I put in the second link that?
Yeah.
Okay, you saw. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I saw that. Thank you.
I know I shouldn't, but whatever.
Whatever. I'm not seeing an email thing. Did you create a slide by chance?
Yeah, it's the links at the top of the emails. Next to email, right there.
Oh, so AF. Okay. So it's there.
AF 105 emails.
Yeah, I mean.
No. So I get to them differently. Never mind. I see it in the StreamYard interface.
Let me add it to the show though. Hang on.
No, I did. Oh,
you did.
Well, no. The one that's there says number 105, but it's episode 106.
I misnumbered it.
Oh, okay. That's what was confusing me. I was like, I'm seeing last week's. Yeah. No, that's all good.
So did you add it to StreamYard?
I think so.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Can y'all?
No, that's last week's.
That's last week's.
Hang on. Let me rename it so it's 106 so it won't get confused. Hang on. Stand by.
Got it.
I will fix it and I will add it. Hang on.
So I should be able to just copy that and...
No, because it's a StreamYard problem because we already because I wrote over the 105 one. So hang on. I got it. So once you import it in once, it won't reflect any changes.
Oh.
So... there we go.
That's joyous.
There it is.
Yay. Okay.
All right, we got
Great.
it. We're good. Sorry about that.
We got it.
My bad. This is what happens when I'm doing stuff on the train. I was in the city for work today, and so I was using the nothing headphones again on the train.
The big ones.
Oblivious to the world, the conductor asked me I don't know how many times for my ticket. I had no idea he was talking to me, and then I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I was like, yeah.
Take off your cans.
I know. Yeah. So. All right.
Cool. Well, folks, should we do this?
I'm ready.
Do you want to do the top stuff?
Sure.
I can't remember who did it last week or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Well, I wasn't on the show last week, so it wasn't me.
Okay, so therefore
did you or Win do it, or?
Yeah, I think I probably did.
All right, I'll take it. I'm due.
So. I can't remember.
Okay.
Remember this.
Let's do it.
Okay. Stand by. Mishaal is backstage. I am uncameraed. And let's see here. Here we go, everybody. Stand by.
Right. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Android Faithful, your summer doldrum buddy, where we're here to discuss all the latest Android news, hardware, apps, and general technology discussion to get you through the dog days of summer. I'm Ron Richards.
The Doldrums of Summer. I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Mishaal Rahman.
And we are here in the doldrums of technology, Tech Summer.
Doldrums.
After a very busy July with Samsung, now we're in the quiet period of August as we get ready for Google to do their show later this month. So.
Doldrums is a popular nautical term that refers to the belt around the Earth near the equator where sailing ships sometimes get stuck on windless waters. I had no idea. I was like, what is
Are you doing a word of the day now on AF?
Well, I heard doldrums, and I was like, this is a word that I know how, like, I know when I say it what I mean, but, like, what the heck does it mean?
What's the etymology? What is that word?
Do a new segment where send us a word at contact@androidfaithful.com, and we'll try to shoehorn it in.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Android Doldrums, that's the name of the show. So, Mishaal, it's funny you say that because at my last job, me and some friends, we used to place bets on inserting words into conversations on calls. It was during the pandemic when we're all on Zoom and we were just bored. We're like, try to say this word, and so they try to work it into the meeting, and it was very funny, and you're keeping score and stuff like that. It was good.
Were some people like privy to it, and other people were like, "What?"
No, we kept it tight. There was only three of us who were aware.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. And at another job years ago, I was on a single mission to pronounce the word scenario, and to do it enough to get other people to start saying it that way. And it took about a month and a half, but I had half the department saying scenario. And I was like, and I had one other friend who was aware that I was doing it, but like it was. You do when you work corporate jobs and you're really bored.
Yeah. I had an embarrassing moment at Twit on TNW where the word that came up on the script was extremism. And for whatever reason, I couldn't help but say extremism. And Megan Maroney was like, "What did you just say?" And I was like, "Isn't it extremism?" Like, no, it's extremism. Oh, okay.
Well, that's like one of my all-time podcast verbal gaffes was on iFanboy. Geez, this is years ago, like 15 years ago. But we used to take emails from users on the website from like our forum, and so we wouldn't get full names. We had like usernames, and there was one user whose username was Rusty Auto Parts. But it was all with no space. And we were doing the show, and I was like, the next question comes from Rusty Auto Part. Like, I pronounced it like I was in a David Lynch movie. And to this day, there are iFanboy listeners who still say Rusty Auto Parts to me. So.
I am Ron Burgundy.
Auto parts? Like I said,
Auto parts.
Yeah. It's really. The clip is somewhere online. People have saved it. So anyway, it's good. Good to see you guys. Awesome. I missed doing the show last week, and also at the same time, I didn't miss a 2-hour marathon.
If you're gonna miss an episode, last week may have been the one to miss. Yeah. It was fun. I'm not saying that it wasn't fun.
Yeah. I had dinner before the show this time.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah, no, I think we were all like equally exhausted. I think when we were finally done with After Hours, which was another like almost half an hour after that, we were all right, I think we need to tighten things up a little bit.
People don't realize podcasting is hard work. It is hard work. So.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes at the end of this show, I can be a little exhausted. I will fully admit.
Well, should we avoid a marathon show and get right to it tonight?
I was going to say, speaking of exhausted, are we getting right into the news? Because this case is exhausting. But we may officially be at the end of the road for this whole Google Epic Games case, which apparently Google has officially lost its appeal in the case, and the court has sided with Epic in what appears to be the last step or the final decision in the case. Sorry, I'm having trouble with some of the links.
I just feel like when it comes to court cases, they're never over. Like between the appeals process and all that sort of stuff.
Totally.
Ends, right? Yeah.
Well, this one is not over because you're forgetting they can appeal again, Jason. There's still.
Oh, I did miss that.
The Supreme Court.
Oh, that's true. I guess they could continue, and
that could be. They probably will down the road for another year.
They probably will because there's so much wonkiness going on in law in the U.S. right now. But remember last year, the jury in this particular antitrust case sided with Epic Games. They said that Google used anti-competitive and restrictive practices in the Play Store for a number of things, which we could talk about if we want to talk about it again. That included payments meant to keep competitors out of the picture. Judge ordered Google to open up the Android platform. Google appealed. And so then, we had this like year-long appeal. And during that appeal, the injunction was put on hold. So there was no kind of consequence that Google had been facing during this time. Well, Google has since won after this kind of ruling, after losing the appeal. Basically it was like a ticking down of like 14 days, I think, to like, all right, so get it in motion. And Google has won since then an emergency stay for 3 weeks to make some changes to the App Store policy in preparation for all this stuff. And then, as you say, Mishaal, this could not be the end. We might have to talk about this case yet again, because Google might want to take it to the Supreme Court.
So if we're presuming that they're going to appeal, but the clock is also ticking, do they still have to do the thing they have to do, even if they're going to appeal?
Unless SCOTUS like immediately issues another injunction, because that was the reason they didn't have to enforce. They didn't have to go through these changes immediately when they lost the original case, because the appeals court, gave them an injunction and said you don't have to implement these right now.
Right.
But now that they lost this case, unless they get another injunction, then they have to go forward with changes.
Yeah. I just have no faith in judicial processes or any of this sort of stuff. Google's got so much money in lawyers, and Epic's got so much money in lawyers. Like, I know, Jason, you're like, could this be the end? And I just feel like it's never going to end. But
no, this feels like one of those cases that's going to continue propping up, and we're going to be talking about it for like 7 years.
Yeah. 7 more years.
I mean, at this point, like, when did the case first start? 3 years ago at this point? Two and a half, 3 years, something like that? I don't know.
Yeah,
it already feels like it's been around for a very, very long time. I mean, which is not to discount, like, the impact that it will have on the way that Android works. Ultimately, Google is going to need to, at least according to the rulings, stop requiring apps to use Google Play billing, allow developers to push users to other platforms, limit the perks that Google offers in exchange for its pre-installed apps. Eventually, they will be required to carry rival app stores inside of the Play Store. Is that right? Like, you go to the Play Store and you download? Yeah. So
that's what
things are going to change.
Tim Sweeney actually, like, immediately after the ruling, he said that he's going to bring Epic Game Store to the Google Play Store. Eventually, like, he said it's going to happen. Google. Like, we don't know when it's going to happen, because, as you said, like, Google is going to be forced to do that eventually.
They're going to fight this tooth and nail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be pretty crazy, because right now you have to go to Epic Game Store website. You got to Google search it, right? Epic Game Store app. Then you go to the website. Then you download it. It downloads the APK file. Then you have to tap on the file, which might take you to the sideloading permission. You have to enable sideloading permission for Chrome. Then you have to tap the app to install it. Then you open it, and then you install it. Then you grant the Epic Game Store the permission to sideload applications, and then you can sideload games from within the Epic Game Store. So for us, for like most of our listeners,
say that doesn't sound too complicated, because we've been doing this for 15 years.
But it is a lot of friction. Like, it is friction, right? Like, versus the Play Store, you just open it, sign into your account, and then you're ready to download apps, right? You don't have to grant any permissions or anything like that.
Yeah. The vast majority of people that are playing Epic games have not had 15 years of sideloading experience on Android to go like, oh, it's actually not that difficult or complicated. It is, versus just go here and download and you're good.
Well, we'll talk about it later in the show, but it might get even more challenging in other parts of the world too to do that. So
truth.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see how it progresses. But the clock is ticking. Google, get on it. All right. Well, Mishaal, what else is Google up to?
So Google is starting to roll out some machine learning-based age estimation features in the U.S. So for those of you who aren't aware, a lot of states, and most recently the UK, the entirety of the UK, are starting to implement age restrictions on the internet, basically to restrict adult content to minors, from minors, so minors can't access that kind of content. And as part of this, a lot of tech services are scrambling to implement age verification services. A lot of them are asking for straight up, like, your ID, to show your ID in order to get access to the service. Google, being a giant tech company, they have other means of determining your age. They have this machine learning based algorithm that will, quote, use a variety of signals already associated with the user's account to determine your age, regardless of what you provide for your birthday. Because obviously, I mean, if they just ask you for your birthday, you can just lie on the internet. I mean, who like what a big idea. I mean, someone would just go lie on the internet, right, about their age.
It's
now
a solution Google that has worked time immortal.
Time immemorial, right?
Memorial. There we go. That's the word. That's the phrase.
Yeah. So Google is now they're gonna use signals like the type of information that you search for or the categories of videos that you watched on YouTube. Another signal of longevity of the account.
What I love, so putting aside longevity of account, which is a very good, like a new account, whatever.
Yeah, but that's the obvious indicator. Yeah.
I would love to see the misfires on this based on certain, like, because I know some people who are my age who probably have some very immature searches or are looking for like weird things on YouTube. Yeah.
Like a 35-year-old guy who watches nothing but Gen Z TikTok brain rot is now categorized as 13-year-old.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Oh. Go in a lot of bad directions.
I mean, the thing is, I trust Google to be very smart in how they do this and how they execute it. But the thing is that people are weird, and how do you machine learn against people's weirdness? And there's some dude who just loves fart videos or something like that. And is that a 13-year-old or is that a 40-year-old? Right. And there's some 40-year-olds who like to laugh at dumb stuff like that. So
yeah, for sure.
Like. It's problematic in the sense that, they're gathering all this information on us and they're trying to basically suss out private information. Like, what if you don't want Google to know your age, right? But the thing is, Google now has a legal responsibility in certain states and certain countries to determine whether or not you're old enough to access some of its content, right? So the alternative would be in those states and in those regions, they would just straight up have to ask everyone for their ID, which is one of the main criticisms that people have of these laws. Like there's no, like a lot of small businesses straight up don't have the resources to be able to safely determine the age of all of their users. But a big company like Google can do it. But the problem is a lot of smaller businesses can't do what Google's doing with this machine learning based age estimation technique. And, the alternative is asking everyone for their ID, which is problematic for many reasons, as we saw with some tech companies and some #1 trending apps on the Apple App Store. I don't know if you heard about some big data leaks recently, but those keep popping up pretty much every week.
There's big issues with that.
Yep.
Yeah. And this isn't the only time we're going to talk about this in the show, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
It comes up here in a little bit as well. But that's for later. Not too much later. But there's a lot of bad ways that this can go. And yet we kind of find ourselves in the kind of like internet new world order where this is kind of the direction it's heading. And, for better or for worse, this kind of stuff is going to be a lot more prevalent. And I don't know. Jury's still out on what this all leads to and what that actually means.
Yep.
But I kind of think it's not very good. Okay.
And also, very quickly, in more positive news, Samsung and Google are finally starting to look eye to eye in terms of how navigation should be handled. So for a long time, on Samsung phones, out of the box, by default, you have the 3-button navigation scheme. But unlike on Pixel phones, on Samsung phones, you have the back button on the right and the recents button on the left.
Oh, right? I always hated that
Pixel
with Samsung phones. Oh.
Well, you say that, Jason, but a ton of Samsung users, and there are a lot of Samsung users out there
that's always
who
been
are used to that. Yeah. That's the way it's always been for them, right? They have the back button on the right instead of on the left like it is on Pixel phones. So when Samsung users switch to Pixel phones, they get annoyed because on Pixel phones, you can't swap the order. You have to retrain your muscle memory to get used to the back button being on the left, or just switch your navigation styles completely and switch it to gesture navigation. And this is a problem because there are a lot of Samsung users, and most of them don't bother changing the defaults because the Samsung's default is to just have 3-button navigation. Well, there are 2 changes that might be coming. There are rumors from Sammy Guru who are reporting that in One UI 8.5, Samsung might finally allow you to change your navigation style during setting up of a new phone. So you'll have the option to either show buttons on the screen, which is the current default, or switch to swipe gestures. And that could potentially train more Samsung users to actually start using gesture navigation instead of having them go and enable it manually. The second change is something that I spotted in the latest Android Canary build. There's evidence that Google is finally working to add an option to swap the navigation bar so that you can have that Samsung order where you have the back button on the right and the recents on the left. And this would basically just allow users who are used to that layout, just have the old system. If you're switching from a Samsung phone, you have the back button on the right. You want that on your Pixel phone. This option, once it comes out, will allow you to have that.
Oh, they're getting along. Samsung and Google have been getting very cozy lately. This is just one more example of it.
I mean, it's just another sign of the new world order, and it's kind of blurring, it's blurring the lines, but it's also good to have a singular kind of there's a couple of things that should be the same across all Android phones, whether they're Samsung or Google or OnePlus or whatever. It should be uniform. So yeah.
So then, what team are you, Ron? Are you team back button right, back button left?
Back button left.
Yeah,
because
I
feel
gesture navigation.
Well, yeah, I'm on gesture navigations, but yeah, I did make the switch. Despite on the show, Jason, if I remember years ago, swearing off gesture navigations and pledging my allegiance to the 3 buttons on the bottom. I don't know if you remember that, but that was definitely back in the AAA days pre-pandemic. I was like, no, I want those 3 buttons. I want to have control. But then I switched to gestures at some point and never looked back. But given a phone with the 3 buttons, I go, because I do a lot of product management work in my day job and UI, UI, UX kind of stuff. And I just feel like the back, it's to the left, back and to the left. There you go for JFK fans, right? And back being on the right just feels unintuitive to me, or disintuitive. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I agree. It just looks wrong to me to have the back button pointing to the other buttons. Have it point away from everything.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I know what you mean, Jason. I know what you mean.
I don't know. It just back to everything that came before over here where there is nothing. Here it's back to these buttons. That doesn't make any sense. It does not make sense. Okay, thank you. That's my soapbox. I'm stepping off now.
So, all right. Well, good to see that's coming, for sure. And, it's a little bit of a light news week, but it's always good when that happens because our loyal patrons over at patreon.com/AndroidFaithful help us out every week by not only submitting stories. Every Wednesday, a post goes up on Patreon where patrons can suggest stories for us to include in the show. And then every Monday, patrons can vote from 3 stories to choose one story that we'll talk about on the show. And that's usually, as always, accompanied with a awesome Bug Droid AI-generated image that our community provides. This week, the Bug Droid came from Michael, who sent in and kind of gave me a jump scare because it's a Bug Droid with a big sign that says back to school, and there's a line of little Bug Droids with their little backpacks, and the big Bug Droid is helping them get to school. And Michael actually said, I wanted to submit this Bug Droid image for next week's show. My grandkids go back to school this week, August 5th, so I'm submitting this for them. Their names are Kaylee, Julian, and Emery. I got Kaylee, who's 14 years old, the Pixel 8a after her old phone wouldn't turn on one day. Julian isn't old enough for a phone at 11-year-old, and Emery is 18 months old, so Emery's not even going to school. But yeah, he's a big fan of the show and big fan of the previous iteration at Twit. So thank you, Michael, for sending that in. School doesn't start here in New York for another month, so I know that in other states, schools underway. I don't know if in California, Jason, the kids are going back to school or not. But
next Wednesday.
This freaked me out because my kids are still in summer camp. They're for another 2 weeks, so I still got time. But yes. So
love it.
Yeah.
Very cute. In fact, when I look at these, I have a little education Bug Droid that I got at some Google I/O conference, and it's a smaller one that actually looks a lot like this one. So it's spot on. You got the normal size ones, and then you got the little kid one.
It's well done. So we got 3 stories for our patrons to pick this week. The story that came in last was the fact that the Honor Power 2 may take battery capacity past the new threshold. That got 17% of the vote. The second place story, the real reason behind Samsung's One UI bootloader unlock ban is an EU law, and that whole Samsung One UI 8 bootloader story is a hot one, and we're going to be talking about it in the after hours for patrons. So if you want to hear, and Mishaal, I'm very curious what your take on that whole story is. We're going to talk about that. That's probably going to be the meaty part of after hours. But the winning story this week was the fact that EU age verification app to ban Android apps not licensed by Google. And this gets pretty interesting in the fact that the European Union is getting ready to release an Android app integrity check for the age verification app it released recently. And to kind of give a little more background on this, the EU has been working towards age verification online and created an app to be used to verify the age of users. This sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yep.
Before they could access social media or adult-rated content. Now the EU is adding an Android app integrity check into the system. This aims to ensure that the app that someone downloads and uses for this verification is the app and not a counterfeit app. Because I could totally imagine people trying to make it slightly worded different.
Way around this.
Yeah, do an icon that's similar. But anyway. So the app would actually restrict users from downloading third-party apps from the Play Store that they are not cleared to download. And the EU says the app itself won't monitor app usage, which is great, and it won't take in any data beyond the verification itself. So this is really interesting because we just talked about how Google's using machine learning to verify ages, and here the EU is actually rolling out an app that will do the same thing. Age verification is a big deal. I keep mentioning it, but in my day job, as we're developing an app that requires people to be of a certain age, you need to verify that age. And how do you do it? And there are third-party services that do identity checks and verification, but those things can be cheated. Those things can be worked around. What do you think of this as a solution of an app to monitor age, but then an app to make sure you've got the verified app, right? This is it's kind of like an Ouroboros, right?
Right.
Yeah. I think from what I can tell, this is like a framework that the problem with a lot of age verification systems, as I mentioned before, it's kind of onerous on small businesses. Like, how do you, as a small business, small company, small app, verify the user's age, right? It's really difficult for you to implement such a service. So the EU is building this app that basically you can verify your age through, and then you could basically say, okay, this user's over 18, so they're free to use whatever services that are available to users over 18. The controversy with this app is that the system that it's using to verify that the app hasn't been tampered with is Google Play Integrity, the Google Play Integrity API. And the reason that's caused a stir is because Google Play Integrity API only works on Android systems that have been licensed by Google. So this age verification app, allows users to verify their ages. It's not. I don't think it's even in use yet by any system. But if it does get rolled out and it's solely relying on the Play Integrity API to determine that there hasn't been any tampering, then it would necessarily exclude non-Google licensed versions of Android. But there's no saying that they're not going to expand it later on and add support for non-Google licensed versions of Android. I mean, this is the EU, the same region that has been going really hard on Google for its Android licensing agreements. So, it could happen in the future.
Yep. If anyone's going to do it, it's the EU, that's for sure. So, really interesting stuff. This whole idea of age verification and managing the experience based off age in a way that can be verified, that's not circumvented or lied about. I always go back to what I did on bulletin board systems in the early 90s. And if I was a kid now, and if I was 14 years old and I wanted to do something, I'd find a way.
That's kind of what pops in my mind about this too, which I'm really interested to see how this all plays out with the age verification thing and the lengths that they go through, because kids are smart, especially kids who really want a certain, certain thing they want to find.
I know I've told the story before, but I go back to the story with my sister wondering whether she can let my niece have Instagram or TikTok. And my niece was 14 or 15 at the time. And she's asking me if it's safe for them. And I was like, the kid has her own phone and hasn't signed up herself because she's waiting for you to say it's okay. You parented well. You did the right thing. You did okay. I said, if that's me at 15, I've been on the app for 3 years and you didn't even know about it.
Yeah. Right.
So, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Because that's the kind of kid I was. But
yeah, me too.
Anyway.
Me too.
Interesting stuff. So make sure if you're a supporting patron, tune into the after show to hear us talk about the 2 stories that didn't get voted in. And quickly want to thank Bobby Richardson for supporting us over at Patreon, one of our loyal supporters. That's awesome. Thank you, Bobby. And you could support us as well on patreon.com/AndroidFaithful.
Yes, indeed. And
excellent.
Thank you for doing that.
Indeed. So we're going to take a quick break and come back with some hardware.
All right, it's hardware time. The hardest of hardware. Starting with you, Mishaal. What you got?
Well, I don't have any current hardware to talk about, but I do have some future hardware from Samsung. Because it's earnings season, and Samsung held their quarterly earnings call, their Q2 2025 earnings call, and they confirmed once again that their Project Muhan VR headset will be launching later this year, and that also the long-rumored, long-awaited trifold phone will also be arriving later this year. Finally,
the worst kept secret in all of technology right now. I will say, going back to Galaxy Unpacked, I was still shocked that there was nothing about Muhan.
Yeah.
Or any tease or anything at all.
We were all expecting some kind of one more thing at least.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was surprised that there was no trifold there, but I thought they would have touched on that in some way, shape. And I get that they wanted to keep the focus on the folds and all that sort of stuff, but I was still surprised that they didn't do that.
So do you think that these two things end up launching at about the same time? Like, is there going to be... because they normally have an event, the Unpacked at the beginning of the year for their big Galaxy series. They have their foldable event, which they just did. And then these are two very different kind of different pathways. You know what I mean? I wonder how they're going to approach that.
They're different can be different events. I don't think they're going to combine them. They're way too different. And
they are very different. Yeah.
And what I think is going to happen, I think the trifold is going to have a very limited launch. Like, it's not going to be a big, extravagant Galaxy Unpacked event.
Yeah,
It's going to be like a very low-key launch. The Android, the XR headset, I don't know what they're going to do with that, what kind of launch we'll get.
Yeah, like I guess what I'm thinking is it does make sense that it would be two different events, but I could also see Samsung being like, we've got an event where we're showing you the next generation of a few different things that we've been working on, like bottling it up together is like innovation that you just haven't seen before from Samsung. The trifold, the Android XR, the Project Muhan, and then another thing that
we've already seen the Muhan headset. Like, we're literally looking at a photo of it right now.
No, totally.
And we both tried it on at I/O, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, we know it exists, but that people could actually get that, I don't know. Yeah, I could see it going either way, but I'm excited for both. I think it's about time for Project Muhan to get its release at this point. It's almost a year.
Well, Jason, those aren't the only two Samsung devices that Samsung confirmed are coming this year. They also said the Galaxy S25 FE and Tab S11 will be launching in a couple of months. So we might see them later this month or maybe as early as next month.
Okay.
I mean, if I'm a betting man, I would say probably IFA is when we'll see them.
IFA.
Oh, I'm sad. And then in other news, we also have a rumor that the Galaxy S26 will pack another NFC antenna so that you can tap to pay just by basically holding the top of your phone against the terminal. Because, kind of right now, depending on the phone, it's kind of awkward to determine where exactly is that little NFC terminal on the back. If they add another antenna at the very top of your phone, then you can just consistently hold the top of your phone to pay, which is, I think, something a lot of people naturally do, and they kind of naturally assume that's where they should point their phone.
Totally.
They end up finding out, it's like more towards the middle, right? And even a lot of phones now have like an illustration that show you where exactly an NFC is.
There's nothing worse than the trying to line up the NFC to the terminal, like when I'm in a deli or something like that. People are trying to find the spot to do it. Like that's always so awkward. Yeah. So.
Well, and some terminals don't make it very easy to know like where the actual tap point is
either. That's the thing. Like there's a convenience store in the train station I go to, and I don't know what system. I don't think it's Square. It might be Clover. I don't know which one it's on, but it's like it looks like a wedge, like a doorstop wedge, like it's a triangle kind of thing, and but the guy has to hold it up for me to tap the bottom of the way. Like it's like it's not intuitive as to where you need it. Like it's always awkward and it's frustrating. So
Ron, I totally hate those scenarios.
Scenario.
Look at you with the callback. I love it.
I wouldn't have even thought twice about it if Ron hadn't said the thing at the top of the show.
I will say about tap to pay though. One thing I noticed. So geez, now this is like 2010 to 2012 or so. I spent a lot of time in England, and I was always impressed by when you went to a restaurant, here, they bring you the bill, you give them your credit card, they go away, they come back, and they sign something. Yep. And in England, they would have these little hand terminals where they just did it at the table, and I always thought that was wild. I'm seeing that now happening here in the U.S. In fact, I was at a lunch today, and I asked for the check, and the guy brought the Toast little tablet thing that's running Android, but I noticed. And and I just tapped my card to it, and then it gave me the receipt, and it was like it's all there at the table, which is like funny how it's 15 years later we're catching up to Europe in that way.
We finally got text messaging. I remember when that was the long lagging thing. It's like, overseas they have text messaging. We don't. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Do that text messaging.
Anyways,
I still think that there's a lot to be improved for the NFC tapping experience here in the States, specifically around commerce and around other products and things like that.
It's gotten a lot better though.
Yeah, it's got a lot better.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. There's still a little kind of tricky quality at the terminal. I definitely run into that from time to time.
Yeah. So,
but I also use like a lot of different types of phones, right? And all the phones have a different way of, like you were saying, Mishaal, a different point at which to line up. Yeah. And sometimes I'm usually trying to figure it out too.
You just hover over for like move it around a little bit, and eventually it works.
But then sometimes I move it around and it's like, I felt the thing. Oh, it wants me to re-authenticate. Okay, so then I got to take it back and do my thumb and then put it back on, and it's just not always perfect.
Indeed. So, all right, well, that's it on the Samsung beat. And moving back over to Google, I feel like we're doing Google-Samsung tennis match here. But as I mentioned at the top of the show, we're in the quiet period post-Samsung Galaxy Unpacked, pre-made by Google, where we're going to see the Pixel 10 and all the stuff that Google's already kind of tipped their hat at. But there's still a lot of details being held close to the vest. We've seen a steady stream of leaks and things like that of what to expect. But today, it's not so much a leak. I don't know if this is a leak or what it might be, but speculation or whatever. But the
report from WinFuture. So they've got a report.
Reporting, as reported on The Verge. This is where I saw it, at least. The fact that that the Google Pixel 10 Pro Fold might not go on sale until October. So who knows? With the event being in August, usually the expectation is they announce the devices and then they're available for pre-order and then they release, close to that. I looked up the Pixel 9 release schedule or whatever it was, and last year the Pixel 9 event was at the end of August and the Fold was shipping in September, a couple of weeks after the event. So there was a gap, but August 20th to October is a big gap. So, but who knows? This might not be confirmed. This might be not correct. This at this point is speculation, and it's based off these reports that aren't confirmed by Google yet. But we'll see. But if that's the case, and it's not only the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, but the Pixel Watch 4 and the Pixel Buds 2a would be not released until October 9th, 2025.
It's not quite 2 months, but it's close enough, and that feels like if that is comes to pass, that's I don't know, that's a long time from announcement. And we already have the thing where Google is kind of and I mean other companies do this too. It's not like Google's alone, where Google will announce a thing and it's like coming soon. It's like seriously, like Google I/O is often filled with that type of thing.
Tangent, but I feel like the worst offender for that is Sony with their Xperia phones. They announced the Xperia phone, and it takes months for it to come out. But what I found weird about this report is I could kind of understand a delay for the Fold, just because it's necessarily a more complex device. But the Watch and the Buds, I don't know, that seems weird.
Yeah,
but the thing is that the thing is of all of the times for this to happen with supply, I know we're coming out of the pandemic, and we're tired to hear about supply chain, but with the uncertainty around the tariffs that are happening out of the government, the uncertainty around manufacturing, the uncertainty around supply chain, it could all be related to that, whether it's the components and how they're able to do it, where it's being manufactured. And I say this as a co-founder of a company that is making hardware. It is harder than ever to make hardware. and to interact with China or interact with wherever this stuff might be happening and being built and shipped and things like that. There's so much, my company Scorebit, we have our device that goes in pinball machines. We're developing the next generation of that model, and we put in for an exemption for the tariff, because it's electronics, right? We heard from the government this week, they got our request, they haven't even looked at it. So we don't even know how much we're going to get, whether we're going to get the exemption or not. So it's hard to plan what you're going to do. So my biggest thing is that why is it just the Fold, the watch, and the earbuds, and not the 10, not the regular phones? Why are those? If that's the case, what is the difference, right? And
that's what I was confused by. If it was just the Fold, I could understand it.
Right?
Because
it's a weird kind
parts
of
availability, supply chain. That would make sense to me.
Yeah. That is bizarre.
So it's interesting seeing this report come out, and if it is true, I don't see Google confirming it before the event. And depending on where there's smoke, there's fire. If they even address it during the event on August 20th, to be if they just treat it and it's coming out in October, oh well, whatever. Or if they explain why, and they probably won't explain it. They don't need to explain anything. But
I'm curious to see.
But it's another.
I hope
thing
it doesn't take that long. I don't like waiting.
But the thing about it, though, is that as soon as you get the device on October 10th, you forgot about the wait.
They'll let the win. The win's probably going to pre-order day one.
Yeah,
I want the phone now.
Yeah, so true.
But anyway, this is another thing to add to the bingo card that we'll be tracking on the August 20th Made by Google event for sure. So
indeed. Fairphone 6. No, we're not bringing it up because we have it, because we do not, although we would love to give it a spin, just throwing that out into the universe, hoping that someone picks it up and gets in touch with us. Contact at androidfaithful.com. But big surprise, the reviews are out, and it is a great phone for those of you who value sustainability, if you sustain repairability, if you're not as let's say laser focused on top of the line internals and premium specs, because it kind of seems because it's not an inexpensive phone. It's $899 US is what it says in this Tech Advisor article, at least. And for that, you get the modular approach of kind of the easy repairability of some of the things, like the battery, that you can just take off the back plate and pop out the battery and put in a different one, or some camera sensor swapping, that sort of stuff. But you also get some modular accessories like a finger loop or a lanyard. Everybody doing the modular accessories on smartphones got to do a lanyard. I just don't see anybody walking around with their phone strapped around their neck. But
nothing had the lanyard too.
I literally have a. Oh, give me a second.
Okay, we found the person. Okay, I want to hear about this.
But I was gonna say nothing had the lanyard too.
Makes
and we're
sense,
what is that?
The Xiaomi 15 Ultra with the neck lanyard. It's literally like a camera.
Okay.
Do you wear that? Do you wear that around your neck, Mishaal?
Only when I'm taking this to events. I'm doing product photography.
Okay, I could see that for a very specific thing. Sometimes I'm fighting for pocket space, and it's nice to just kind of have it out, I suppose.
Yeah,
but it's funny they always go
in and out of my
pocket.
Thing.
Yeah, although that thing around your neck, it's going to give you scoliosis, so just be careful.
I'm not wearing this
back over time.
Yeah.
It'll weigh you down. So anyway, apparently the lanyard is a thing that more people need to check out, myself included. There is a physical switch on the phone that is designed to you switch it. It's called Fairphone Moments, and it's for limiting distractions, so it can kind of ramp down how the phone operates so that you don't get distracted as much. But really the big thing here is the commitment to repairability and sustainability. It's got 8 years of software updates, 5-year warranty, and all the replaceable parts and everything. And then you've got kind of like the other specs, which like a Snapdragon 7S Gen 3, 8 gigs of RAM. So we're not talking about loaded on the on the internals. IP55, which I give it props for being IP anything. If it's truly modular like this, that takes some design consideration. 6.32 inch POLED 120 hertz display, 50 megapixel, 13 megapixel ultra wide lenses, which I I have come to learn is definitely not the strong point of this phone and camera setup. But yeah, there you go. $899 for a phone that is really designed to be sustainable and last 8 years with software updates. That's pretty impressive. 8 years. Is that the first time we've seen the 8-year thing from 7? I feel like 7 has been the watermark at this point.
True. Although, would you want to keep a phone with these specs for 8 years?
I mean, that's the question, right? Like at a certain point, it becomes just like it becomes another spec sheet thing that they just threw in there. Like, yeah, well, we'll commit for 8 years, but no one's going to keep it that long.
Right. I guess you're not able to replace the
processor.
If you go back 8 years, what was like the standard then? And like, ask yourself, would we use those phones today?
Well,
okay.
I guess we're not the right people to ask, considering we upgrade our phones like every year.
No, but it's a good question. What was the phone 8 years ago? What was the phones that were out?
I'm totally researching this longhand by myself, not using any sort of AI tool.
Let's see here. Isn't that Pixel 2 generation?
Pixel 2, dude. Yeah, you either use the same tool I did, or you just knew that and you're brilliant. Pixel 2 and 2XL, definitely. So the sequel, Pixel 2. LG G6 and V30. That was one we talked about a lot. The OnePlus 5 and 5T. The HTC U11, known for its edge sense. Let's see here. Xiaomi Mi Mix 2 for its bezel-less display design. The Samsung Galaxy S8, S8 Plus, and the Note 8. So this was the following year after the fire. After the Note 7 fire debacle. And then, of course, iPhone X, iPhone 8, iPhone 8 Plus.
So going back to the original question, if you were handed a Pixel 2 to use today, how long would you last with it?
Oh, well, it's hard to know.
I feel like it would be, like, obviously I would notice the camera wouldn't be nearly as good as it is today, but, like, it'd still be pretty good, considering the Pixel camera's always been pretty decent. Screen would be okay. I think, like, the bezels, they were already pretty small back then, unless I'm like just kind of misremembering everything, how bad phones used to be. But like, I think they were pretty decent then too.
I mean, going back to your question, Mishaal, I think I could probably use it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but obviously, of course, the Pixel 9 is that I'm using is a better phone. And like none of the...
I had a fingerprint on the back. I totally forgot about those.
Remember the two-tone, the black and the white?
Oh, yeah, the two-tone, the Oreo.
Panda, Panda or Oreo. Single camera, but we've got so much processing that it doesn't matter that you only have a single camera.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's wild.
I think it's a super fair point. And it's been one that I've been thinking about a lot is like, on paper, I've considered doing a video with a million other video ideas I have, but like on paper, the 7-year and the 8-year promise is really great. It's something that we're always kind of pushing for, hey, promise. But it's kind of like on the other side of it is there a commitment to longevity and repairability and keeping a device current or replacing the battery? Because often on a lot of these devices, that battery is going to be crap 7 years later. And so, sure, you can update the software. Like, technically, that's awesome. But the phone's going to suck in other ways. So it's kind of just a spec sheet kind of brag more than anything.
No, you will have to replace the battery at some point. I mean, that is one benefit of the device is it's pretty easy to replace the battery on these Fairphones.
Oh, absolutely. That's a big selling point. So get 8 years out of it with an easily replaceable battery, that actually goes a long ways, I think, for a device like that. The thing that's going to let it down is it's got a Snapdragon 7S Gen 3 with 8 gigs of RAM. 8 gigs of RAM 8 years from now is okay. So how much RAM was normal 8 years ago?
4. I want to say 4.
Yeah,
I can't imagine it's any less than 4.
How much RAM was normal in flagships?
Yeah, I think Pixel 2 did have 4 gigs of RAM.
Probably something like that. Let's go ahead and see. Yeah, 4 to 6.
4 to 6.
So standard of 4 to 6 gigs of RAM. Often featured 3. Many devices often featured 3. So, if we were still rocking a device with 3 or 4 gigs of RAM, I feel like we'd really be feeling that.
You'd feel it.
You certainly wouldn't be doing any of the AI stuff that you're doing now.
Yeah.
Any
I mean, whether or not someone will keep a phone for 8 years, I like that they're thinking it in that way, and I want to applaud the Fairphone for prioritizing repairability and prioritizing longevity of a device.
Agreed.
You know, that's really interesting, and you know, it'd be interesting to see if we get to a point where you could conceivably hold on to a phone for 6, 7, 8 years, right? And not you know, trash it every year like we do. So
I mean, what would be needed then? Would it be a hot swappable SoC, which I think is really highly unlikely and practical for the most part? But
just easy access and replaceable batteries. That's all you would need to actually keep the phone going for that many years.
To keep it going, but I mean to keep it going and to have it be like a viable smartphone solution.
To have the ability to upgrade the SoC and or add more RAM.
Yeah, it becomes a PC at that point.
That's not going to happen.
It becomes a PC. Yeah, we're talking about having beige box phones. You know, like,
totally.
Totally.
Anyways,
yeah. Anyway, well, interesting Fairphone. I would love to get my hands on it to check it out. Maybe someday we can. But
yeah.
All right, that's gonna wrap it up for hardware. Take another quick break, and then we're gonna go over some apps and hear from you, the listeners. All right, Mishaal, what is going on with Chrome these days?
So Chrome is working on a couple of new features. The first one is they're finally fixing an oversight, in my opinion, that the app has had for a long time. So those of you who use Google Password Manager may know that there's a feature that allows you to prevent password autofills unless you enter your biometrics, your face or your fingerprint. However, that setting only applies to apps and not websites that you visit through the Google Chrome app on your phone. But it looks like Google may be working on extending that biometric authentication requirement to websites you visit in Chrome. There was a recent Google Play Services update that basically hints at this coming. There was like they reworded the biometric authentication toggle and then added in parentheses, coming soon to Chrome, which, you know, is clearly spells out that this feature will be extended soon to Chrome. And that means in the future, you know, if you hand someone your phone, or, you know, hopefully not someone steals your phone and they know your PIN, then they won't be able to like go to random websites that you have the password data safe in Google Password Manager, and they won't be able to autofill that information without your biometrics. And, you know, that's like, it's kind of like a minor oversight because they already need access to your phone, physical access, in order to actually access the websites, because they have to open your phone, they have to open Chrome, then go to the websites. But, you know, there are some situations where it could be useful. And there were rumors back in last year that Google was extending identity check, which is the feature that basically forces biometric authentication whenever your device is in an untrusted location. And this feature that I spot is basically like an extension, a more broader focus than that. Whereas identity check would only apply when your device is in an untrusted location, this new setting would apply regardless of the location of your device, so whether it's at home or whether it's outside. And the other setting that Google's working on are new page transitions. So those of you know, in Android 13, Google introduced predictive back. That predictive back allows you to see where you're going before you finish the back gesture. It looks like Google is working on a form of that, and they're actually starting to roll it out now to a couple of users, including myself, where if you swipe inward from the left edge, you'll actually see a preview of the previous page as you're swiping inward.
Ooh, I like
and
that.
Then they're also doing the opposite from the right edge. So if you're swiping inward from the right edge, you'll see the page that you just came from. So you're swiping inward from the left, you're going back. Swiping inward from the right, you're going forwards. Kind of like how you have the backwards and forwards buttons on Chrome on the desktop. They're kind of implementing that, but on the mobile Chrome, and allowing you to preview the page before you actually complete the back or the forward gesture. Now, the back gesture is something that they're publicly testing with myself and a couple other users. You don't have to enable any flags. But the forward gesture is something that you currently have to enable a Chrome flag for. And if you want to find out what those Chrome flags are, you can visit the article that I wrote on AndroidAuthority.com, which lists those two flags and how to enable them.
Very interesting.
Very cool.
Yeah. Let's see here. Sorry, I got suddenly twisted and lost. Very, very cool. Okay,
it's interesting to see. It's interesting how far they're pushing Chrome as an application within the operating system and like making these kind of changes. So
yeah, love it. I love the kind of the fluid back and forth, the peeking through that like hint quality. I want to see more of that because it is super helpful to know where you're going and not just have it be kind of like a blank destination, especially with Android's very dotted history in back button performance.
Yeah.
We're scarred at this point. We don't trust you, Android. Anytime we go back in anything, we're like, are we actually going to the back place that we wanted to go? At least
it also just looks nice. Like I think it just looks cool.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Kind of like
totally.
see the page peeking out from underneath your finger.
Yeah, no, I agree. It looks really nice. Proton has launched a new and free two-factor authentication app. It is called, well, it makes sense, Proton Authenticator. And it is open source. It's available on all types of devices. So yes, you can get it on Android, of course, but you can also get it on your desktop or your iPhone, that sort of stuff. It includes PIN and biometric authentication. You can import and export all of your existing 2FA tokens in and out of it. Keep everything local, and there's no Proton account needed. So it's kind of like, well, why are you doing this, Proton? That's pretty awesome, other than just being awesome. But you can get on Linux, iOS, Android, desktop, PC, Mac, and yeah, it looks pretty solid.
This is great. I mean, as a lot of people, some folks don't, whether you don't trust using Google for your authenticator app or you don't like Authy for whatever reason, or I know other, Bitwarden, I think, is offering 2FA, this sort of support now into it, right? But it's nice to have another option, and the fact that Proton is doing it in a way that is completely user benefiting and that it's free and doesn't require an account is pretty great. And maybe, obviously it's if you're on board with Proton, this is another application you can use from them, right? It's just another part of the suite, and that's probably what they're aiming for, right? So,
they're building themselves with like the privacy and security alternatives to Google. So like they have Proton Mail, alternative to Gmail. They have Proton VPN, that's alternative to all the other VPN services, and now they have Proton Authenticator, which is their version of Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, and all the other alternate authenticators. There's so many of them.
It's good to have another option. I think that's and this seems, and it seems well designed, and the folks at Proton they make good apps. So that's true. So cool.
Right on.
All right. Last but not least, something that was announced quietly announced, but announced by Google, as I called them. Google announced earlier today, and I'm gonna do my best to balance my appreciation and interest in cool things technology can do with my skepticism and AI ethical debate, right? Because this one is a big old Venn diagram between the two of them.
Yeah, for sure.
So today, Google announced the fact that Gemini can create personal illustrated storybooks within the Gemini app. So basically, you can describe a story, and Gemini will create a unique 10-page book with custom art and audio. Additionally, you can share photos and files of your own stuff for Gemini to draw inspiration from, and they can make it come to life in various styles, from pixel art to comics to claymation, coloring books, and in 45 languages. And some of the examples that they give of how you could use this is, to help your child understand a complex topic. You can create a story that explains the solar system to a 5-year-old. Bringing personal artwork to life. You can upload your kid's drawing and use a prompt saying, "My kid drew this. Make a storybook that brings this drawing to life." Or you can take photos from a family trip and create a personalized adventure. So on one hand, this is really cool. In fact, they can do it. On the other hand, many of you in the audience might know, my other podcast that I work with, iFanboy, covers the world of comic books. I have a very large number of friends who are artists, a very large number of friends who are writers. This is what people do. People make storybooks with their hands and drawing and thing like that. And I totally get that this is why people who are artists by trade hate the world of AI, because it's you're taking what I can do and just replacing it with this machine, and it's going to lack any of the personality or personalness that I bring to the table. So this one's tough. This one is challenging because it's cool, but it's kind of crossing the line a little bit. It's a little.
I think the line's
already been crossed.
Oh, so the line is we're way past it, right? But every now and then you're reminded that we've passed the line.
Yeah. I mean, it is hard. It's incredibly complicated. Like, I'm a creative person. I write music, and there are AI models that, just earlier today, 11 Labs announced, that they now have a music generation product that's done ethically from their point of view. So I'll be curious to see how that rolls. But, I think what you said, though, Ron, is at least a piece of this puzzle, which is I don't discount any artist for looking at something like this and going, what's going on here? Like, this is what I do. At the same time, what you said was really appropriate. You said this can't do it from a human perspective. This can't do it from with the kind of human touch, the human kindness and thought and care that goes into a product. And I think that is a big differentiator. Sure, there are machines that can correct a photo when I import it into Photoshop, and that may have been a task that was required someone's skill to do before. But I don't think the human goes away. But I also understand. I understand the panic around this type of stuff. It's a really weird time right now when tools like this exist. It's also I'm also amazed that tools like this exist. You know what I mean?
So that's the challenge. It's and it's interesting because my daughter reads the books, the graphic novels by Dave Pilkey, who's the guy who did Dogman. I don't know if you're familiar with Dogman, but they made a movie of it earlier this year. But these graphic novels, and there's a spin-off of Dogman called the Kids Comic Club or whatever, and it's a bunch of tadpole fish that make comic books, right? But it's all about creating stories, and every fifth chapter is one of these crazy comic book stories that these fish made, and they're funny. But the whole thing is that it's promoting, you can do this, you can create comics, all you need is a pen and paper and an imagination, and you can draw a story and stuff like that. And my daughter's already doing it. My daughter's taking pieces of paper, and she's 6, and she's writing and then the aliens landed, and we said, and then they chased us for our candy, and these kind of crazy stories. And it's great to watch her, learn how to draw and learn storytelling and learn that, you need to create a problem, and then you need to have a solution. You need to bridge the gap between the story points. And I do worry as a parent that if I introduce this to her, she can just type in aliens chase me for my ice cream and get a 10-page story and feel like I did it.
Yeah.
When she didn't do it.
I feel like there are definitely, for a lot of these tools, there are problematic and non-problematic ways to use them. If you're a parent and you have a 3-year-old, right? You just want a custom, hyper-specific, personalized storybook that teaches them about a very specific lesson using them and your daily lives. You can use this to create that. I think that's fine, right? Yeah. The alternative is, you're not an artist. You try to draw it yourself. You do a bad job at it, or you go out and you commission someone to do it. But how many parents are going to actively go out? Not to say the artists don't deserve it, but for a storybook that you're going to read once to a child to teach them a lesson, are you going to go out there and commission a personalized storybook every single time? How many parents are going to do that?
Things.
Right.
Nobody's going to do that, right?
Right.
So the amount of harm that's being done in doing that, I think it's very minimal. But then you have the scenarios where are you doing this to publish and compete with people who are actually writing storybooks? Yeah. That's problematic.
Yeah.
Because you're actually harming people who, they depend on this kind of work.
100%.
I think with all these tools, there are problematic and non-problematic ways to use them, and Ron, you mentioned problematic ways to use them. And
that's the world we are smack dab in the middle of living in right now. I mean, I've taken look at this. Did you make one?
This is what, I had early access.
Oh yeah.
And I made
so for our audio listeners, we're looking at a storybook that Mishaal created about someone making donuts.
Bagels, but yeah.
Bagels. Yeah. But yeah, the art just looks so fake. It's but
the kid's not gonna know the difference.
It's true. But the thing is that when my kids have been annoying, I'll take my phone out and open up Pixel Studio, and I will say, describe me something, and have Gemini make the image of what they do, and they love it. They effing love it. right? And they think all the styles, they're like, do claymation, do crochet. Like, they love all the different styles. And it's something about, like, bringing your imagination to life. But I feel like this just goes one step too far. But I don't know. I'm going to try it.
But we are the old people in the room, and the kids are the younger ones who are growing up with this capability, who see it not as a change of anything, but just as the way things are.
And instead of learning how to draw, she's going to learn how to craft the prompt. Like, that's the discipline that's going to happen.
Yeah, or both. I mean, I know we need to move on, but I don't think that this means that people don't learn how to draw anymore. That's my point.
I really hope so. Yeah.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah. I know a lot of artists who are worried about that, but
yeah.
All right. Well, those are the apps. Sorry to make it ethical, but it's got to come up. Those are the app stories of this week. Now we're going to dive into emails that we hear from you, our listening audience. Thank you, everyone who writes in to contact@androidfaithful.com. We love hearing from you. And Mishaal, you got the first email.
All right. Our first email comes in from James from Oxfordshire, UK. He wrote to say, "Hi all. Just wanted to thank you for the discussion on problems with Pixel batteries in the last show. This wasn't something that I was aware of, but sure enough, checked a Pixel 7a we have against the IMEI checker, and it's one of the batch that suffers from the problem. The battery wasn't swollen yet, but the charging has been a bit weird recently, so I raised the case with Google. No questions. They gave me a £300 store credit to put towards any new phone, so I've now got a 9A on order to replace it. With a £70 off deal here, plus trading in an old 4XL, it cost me £60. Here's hoping the batteries in the 9A are more reliable. Cheers." And
here's hoping.
Here's hoping. Yeah. So far, we haven't heard of any explodey problems with the 9A, but fingers crossed that doesn't happen.
We need to feed this story into that Gemini storybook and kind of see how it ends here.
But I got to say, these stories of people reaching out to Google and Google making it right and giving them enough of a credit, and then they're doing a trade-in and like buying a phone for £60 is not too bad, what is that? That's like $70, or like that's pretty good. 9A, you'll be happy. So
I think Google's doing what it needs to do, what it should be doing. So.
All right. Our next email references the thing I missed last week on the show. Jason, you showed off TuneShine, right? Which is a very cool device that shows album art and music they're playing. So Kirill wrote in and said, "This TuneShine reminds me of something. The game frame must be the OG in this space. It was created in 2014." Very short and to the point email from Kirill. Thank you. And he shared a couple of YouTube videos, specifically one from Tested, Adam Savage's podcast, showing off the game frame. This is a pixel art project that was actually created by a friend of mine. My friend Jeremy Williams in the San Francisco Bay Area invented the game frame back in 2014, showed it off on Tested. He's worked with Adam Savage over the years, and it's a customizable pixel display that you can build yourself, and Jeremy's posted here's all the parts and even sold kits for a while and did this whole thing from it. The game frame definitely was a precursor to TuneShine in the DIY space for sure. It was cool to see Kirill remember that, write it in, and then I was like, oh, that's my buddy Jeremy. So it's nice when you see your friends doing cool stuff in the world of technology too. So
full circle.
Yeah.
Although I will say because I sent TuneShine back, so I can't show it. But the LEDs on the TuneShine are a lot smaller than the LEDs in the thing that we just saw. The game frame, which has a lot larger. So
sure, yeah. Well, I mean, also the game frame was 10 years ago at this point now.
Oh,
right?
totally.
Like more than
I love the aesthetic of the game frame. I had never heard of that. I would love to have one of those.
It was very cool. Jeremy's a cool dude. Awesome. Jeremy, I knew him from. We met in the world of pinball and had lots of things in common. We had him at TWIT. I had him come to TWIT to show off the VR pinball rig he created when Oculus came out. It was like like a little physical. It's like the first 6 inches of a pinball machine where the flipper buttons are and everything. And he built it with haptic feedback and solenoid and stuff like that. So you put on the Oculus and play virtual pinball, but standing in front of this table with the real pinball buttons, and you could shake the machine and do everything like that. Yeah, Jeremy's a genius.
Oh, that's so cool.
Awesome. Yeah, he's a cool dude.
I must have not been in. That's so neat.
We did it for the screensavers. I think I did it for the screensavers. I think, yeah. So
and I was definitely not there for every screensaver, so I definitely missed that one because I would remember that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, Jeremy's a great guy. He's very cool.
Genius.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, love that. How smart. And then finally, Peter Keefe writes in to say a few weeks ago, Jason reviewed the TCL Next Paper 14 tablet on Android Faithful. It wasn't really a review. It was more like an unboxing first look sort of thing. But just anyways, I'll throw that out there. Conveniently during Prime Week and mid-review, I hit the buy button. Well, Peter, I'm so happy that you trust my opinion that strongly that it didn't take that much convincing for you to buy it. Peter says, I needed a new tablet to test Planter on. And plus, the 14-inch size is perfect for one very specific thing, sheet music. I like to play the piano and handbells in my spare time. And the other tablet I have, the Lenovo Duet, is too small to comfortably use for sheet music. The Next Paper is perfect for this, and the fake e-ink mode and matte look makes it very comfortable on the eyes. Yes, it's ridiculously large. It is. But that's what makes it so great. I totally agree. So far, so good. Thanks for the recommendation. Yeah, I'm happy that you like it, Peter. And look at that. Like, that is the perfect device. It is a massive tablet. So I have to say, Peter, it is massive.
Peter sent in a photo of the TCL Next Paper 14 on the piano, above the piano keys with the sheet music, and it looks enormous.
That looks like the perfect tablet for that particular use. And, you know, you probably just, with the touch, you probably just swipe, and it probably does a little page turn animation. Probably feels really close to the real thing. What a cool use of that gigantic display. I mean, it's a 14-inch display, so it's the same size as the display on my laptop. And, yeah, it's a really cool device. I have to say, it's as far as the tablets that I've checked out recently, it's right at the top of kind of like it's different enough. You know, it's got that paper quality. It's large. It's not like big and bulky, and you're probably not going to use it for like the camera or anything like that. But for stuff like this, it is perfect. I wonder how it would be actually for like comic book stuff, Ron. It might actually be a really
it'd be great.
Might be too big, wouldn't it?
No, not at all. I mean, the thing about reading comics and like, I can't get up. They make oversized book printed editions of like replicas of the original art because like comic book art, they're usually drawn on a page that is much bigger than the comic book page. It's about 11/17 page or whatever, right? And then they shrink it down in the printing. But like the bigger the better. Zoom in, look at that art. Yeah. Be able to celebrate it. You know, it all depends on what you feel comfortable holding. But I would totally read comics on a tablet this big. So
yeah. Right on. Well, thanks for writing in, Peter. Good to hear from you, and I'm so happy that's working for you.
I wish one of my oversized comic book print things are they're over there. I can't reach them. But it's like way over they're there. Like enormous, like bigger than that tablet. They're so cool to see. So
yeah.
Anyway, well, thank you. That was a great batch of emails. Emails at contact@androidfaithful.com. The more often you can include photos and things like that, the better. It's great to see this stuff in the wild and working well. And thank you, everybody who wrote in. So that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Quick reminder, though, if you are a supporting patron or a supporter of the show on AndroidFaithful.com, you can get access to the Android Faithful After Hours, where we talk about the stories that didn't make the Patron Pick cut, as well as other news stories that didn't make the cut on the show here, because there's a lot more happening in the world of Android. So tune in for that. It's going to be available on the feed and Patreon for those of you supporting, or go to patreon.com/AndroidFaithful and sign up to get access to it. But before that, Jason, what's going on in your world?
Well, I have a Nothing Phone 3 review that's going to be publishing to my my YouTube channel sometime this week. YouTube, just go to YouTube and search for Jason Howell. But I'll just go ahead, since we were talking about why is it not working? Oh, because the other thing is on. Because we were talking about the Next Paper, I also reviewed the TCL 60XE Next Paper 5G, which is a smaller, much smaller by comparison because it's a smartphone. But it's a, right now it's on sale on Amazon for $222. So it's a kind of a lowish, mid-range smartphone that also has the Next Paper technology. It's Next Paper 3.0, not 4.0. So it's not quite as good in certain areas as it is on the tablet, but it still has kind of like the same approach, the same function, this like multifaceted display that is, it's a smartphone in the lower range that's really good at this display technology thing. And so you might not get a great camera out of it. Some of the performance is kind of iffy here and there, but the display thing is the reason that you would get it. And so I think for that reason it's notable. So yeah, check it out on ZDNet. I wrote about that, and I think it published like 2 days ago. So check it out.
Awesome. Very cool. And Mishaal, what have you been up to lately over at the Authority?
A lot of stuff. We're launching some new stuff very soon on Android Authority. So if you want to find out what's happening in the world of Android, be sure to follow me on all whatever social media platform you prefer. And you can find most of my work on AndroidAuthority.com. And I have a lot of stuff coming soon, so look forward to that. Next week's going to be some pretty exciting stuff to talk about on the show.
Cool. Well, we'll be looking forward to it. We'll be here waiting for it to find out. Very exciting. And lastly, you can follow me over on all the various social medias. I'm at RonXO, most active on Instagram. Go to AndroidFaithful.com to get all the cool stuff. Make sure you go to AndroidFaithful.com and sign up for the newsletter to get Flo's Friday newsletter. I know she's working very hard on that. And we thank everybody who signed up to this point. And we thank everybody who listened to the show. Thank you if you watched, if you listened, whatever you do. We appreciate you. You're the best. And Android is the best. We have so much fun talking about this stuff every week. And we'll be back next week with another show. Make sure you tune in on YouTube or Twitch for the live stream on Tuesday nights, or get the podcast in your feed Tuesday evenings after the show wraps up in the live stream. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week here on Android Faithful. I shared this picture in our private Android Faithful chat, so the guys saw it already. But the little plush Mishaal's holding,
oh yeah,
I have one back there, and my kids were running around with, they have these like cheap superhero capes, and my daughter put one cape around the Bug Droid plush and was running around the house saying super they call it Standroid, the super Standroid.
Super Standroid.
It was adorable.
It was very cute. It was very, very cute. She's a cutie.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Hey, wow, we kept this show to like an hour and 15 minutes almost.
We did good.
That's like our has long been our target.
General
target.
It helps when there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff is going on, but no like major releases or things like that.
Totally.
So.
Well, I think we were also very aware we were doing stuff on the back end to kind of keep track of things and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, good stuff.
Well, let's pick a title.
Title suggestions. Not many. It's very light this evening.
Well, light week.
The back place.
that seems that could be misconstrued. Scenario.
A scenario. It's a me scenario.
Coming soon to shorter episodes per week.
App Store nesting dolls. EU age verifying verifier. Nice. Yes, coming soon too. Shorter episodes per week. To have removable batteries again. Defeating droid doldrums. Appeal court cracks open App Store locks. Dinner and a show. Google Samsung hokey pokey. The back place.
Back place. That made me think of Back Button to the Future.
That's pretty funny. Google Samsung hokey pokey, even though it's got no votes, is probably like that's a good SEO one. And we did talk about it. I like defeating Droid Doldrums just because I like the alliteration. But
yeah, App Store nesting dolls is also kind of fun.
Yeah, you can do that one. I don't know, Jason. What do you think? What are you feeling?
Oh, I don't know. Defeating Droid Doldrums is the alliteration that for some reason I'm always attracted to.
Let's go with that. Let's do it.
Cool. Let's do it. Why? Because it's our show.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for pitching in with those titles. So.
Yes, and thank you, Cousin of Ja. Doldrums.
Indeed.
The Doldrums.
All right. Well, we're gonna get to go make an after show. So we thank everybody for watching live.
Thank you, everybody. It was a fun time. See, we're getting you out of here early so you can get to your dinner plans. I know I saw someone who was like, who was it? It was Clinton said, you even wrapped up the show just in time for my scheduled dinner appointment. See, we knew what we had to do that. So
we did that on purpose.
So we did that just for you. Thanks, y'all, for being here. We'll see you in after hours. Most of you, I hope. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.